Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Heart Divine 4, the New Order, the real one as the United Kingdom, which is slowly lighting on fucking fire. Did we do Manchester before? I want to say we read Manchester before. No, we read Liverpool, I want to say. Let me check. Maybe we didn't. I'll have to look back in the recordings and see if I read all those or not. I'm sure I read Birmingham at least. Yeah, I think I read Birmingham. Anyway. Well, last video got intense. Hitler died, the country started imploding, and Margaret Thatcher blew up the fucking prime minister. Now we have this guy, but we're not going to read his bio quite yet, because there's a bit of a... We need to develop things a little bit more. So, let's invoke state siege measures. While Germany burns and German power shrinks across Europe, it would be foolish to think that degenerates who seek to underwhelm the new effort the new order will not come to tear down what we have spent so hard to build. Not only do we have to fear the enemies from within, we must be wary of our foreign rivals to the west. From the corrupted IRA to our eldest sons in America, our enemies are numerous and strong, yet our new state is strong enough to hold against such forces, but only if we redouble our efforts in combating our foes and do whatever it takes to keep the spirit of British fascism burning. Well, pip to that. Or something. I don't know. Pip cheerio. However you say it. In the name of His Majesty King Edward VIII, I hereby appoint the following as members of Cabinet and the government ran his name. Home Secretary, Andrew Fontaine. Chancellor of the Exchequer, Richard Austin Butler. Foreign Secretary, Gerald Wallop, 9th Earl of Portsmouth. Defense Secretary, Angus Maud. Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, Walter Mungo Douglas Scott, 8th Duke of Buccleuch, and 10th Duke of Queensberry. Lord Chancellor, Sir Jocelyn Morton Lucas, 4th Baronet. Minister of Education and Science, Jane Birkwood, 2nd Baroness Birdwood. Minister of Health, Ben Green. Minister of Labor, Harold Wilson. Minister of Transport, William Edward David Allen. Minister of Food and Agriculture, Rolf Gardner. Minister of Culture, Reginald Dorman Smith. President of the Board of Trade, Reginald Maulding. Minister of Commonwealth, Reginald Manningham Buller. Scotland Secretary, William Weir Gilmore. Postmaster General, Frederick Bennett. Chief of the Defense Staff, Gerald Templer. Chief of the Imperial General Staff, Walter Walker. First Sea Lord and Chief of the Naval Staff, Angus Graham. 7th Duke of Montrose. Chief of the Air Staff, Benson Railton Freeman. Sign, Ronald Nalkane. South Africa War. The sight of troops was never a particularly strange sight at MI5, being one of the most heavily guarded buildings in London. Yet, the sight of troops barging into the building wasn't particularly a usual occurrence. But with news of Domhnall's death and Knight's apparent connection to it, a small force of German and English soldiers burst into the building, expecting a heated resistance from Britain's newly minted most famous rebel. Yet as they walked cautiously through the building, they found nothing. There were no bombs, no resistance members on hold-up on the balconies, but even stranger, no employee to speak of. Well, until they marched into the main offices, they found a small group made up of a variety of agents, civil servants. Instinctively, they pointed their guns at the pack, and with guns pointed to him, Kim Philby, the appointed leader of the pack, offered a small smile, replying cautiously, "Stand down, my friends. We heard the news as well about Maxwell and his loyal citizens. We came to see what we could do to help Britain in its darkest hour." The commanders stared closely at him before barging past, moving towards Knight's office. Inside the office, papers were strewn across rooms, every document seemingly missing or destroyed. Close examination offered little more information, but confirmation that the cabinets had been completely emptied of all documents. The only intact document in the entire room was a photo. propped on a knight's desk, containing only one figure, the exiled Queen Elizabeth. With this, the troops left, and as they left under his breath, Philby, glad he had been shot by now, offered a silent thanks and commented, "This never happened to the other fellow." And with that realization, Arthur Ronald Nall Cain did not want to be in this position. No sane man ever would, least of all the man who enjoyed a little personal popularity or recognition beyond his position as Foreign Secretary under Domville. But fate has a cruel sense of humor, as do treacherous dogs that populate the resistance. When news of Domville's assassination by none other than Maxwell Knight came to light, the fragile order that the British People's Party had carved out over Britain's fair shores came crumbling to a swift and brutal end. Rapidly installed as interim prime minister due to his ties to the Reich and lack of genuine partisan alignment, Nall Cain is now faced with a nation in flames. His task is to restore order and crush the resistance at all cost. A daunting task that most would shy away from in fear. Ironically, the state of emergency brought Nall Cain a luxury Domville could never quite experience. For once, the many faces of the party have ceased their constant bickering and now find themselves willing to rally together against the resistance. From Hawley Cooper's men and the BFC to the reformists in the party, the majority of the government is finally united. Unluckily for him, the resistance is a dedicated movement, a weed with roots so deep into the country that removing them will be an arduous, and some may say, a nigh impossible task. The fate of Britain lies in the balance, and it's up to Nall Cain and his allies to prevent pure anarchy. Well, here we go. You know what I see when I look over these hangars? Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Hawkins asked his assistant as he surveyed the grounds of the aging Royal Air Force Base which had been placed in charge of. Its heyday is long gone. Back in the 30s and 40s, it was a key defense of the British Isles, the linchpin of the Irish Sea. Yet now it's been left to decay. The bigwigs in Westminster don't consider renovating the base a high priority. Most folks who sign up for the RAF consider an assignment of a small island a sentencing to mediocrity. Nobody makes a name at this base. Sir, do you think we ought to surrender? His assistant asks, the smaller man readjusting his uniform, which was just a tad too large for his thinner frame. We could destroy the base and prevent the resistance forces from getting their hands on our weapons and planes. Hawkins shook his head immediately at the suggestion. No, he said firmly, once more looking over the hangars. We may be isolated from our forces, surrounded on the coast with the threats of the resistance attacks, but I will not surrender this base to them unless it's over my cold, decaying corpse. They'll have to bomb this island to the Stone Age if they want it. Get out a notepad, Hawkins ordered. Once he saw his assistant holding the pen just above the top of the notepad, he started. I want a drill before any resistance forces decide to attack. Get the men ready to defend the island at a moment's notice. I want forces stationed on all major outlets facing towards the mainland. We'll need bunkers to defend the beaches, and I want inspection of our armory. I don't want any of our best weapons breaking when we need them. I want this base to be as ready for war as it was in the 1930s. Hawkins gave another glance over his base and its hangars. If it could save the forces over the mainland just 1 hour of attack by distracting resistance forces with an invasion of their island, then that would be enough. Anything to protect civilization Britain. Surrender is a coward's choice. The man shall stand decision category is now enabled in decisions cap. The Isle Man becomes a demilitarized zone. Wait, holy shit, are we actually giving a shit about the Isle of Man? What? No way. What? Huh. What we once expected to be a simple police affair between the local constabulary and some hooligans has taken a much darker affair. This is no longer an insurgency, we're dealing with a civil war. one has deemed it fit to spread to even the quietest idols of Little Britain. The Resistance, Her Majesty's most loyal resistance, is planning to open up a new front on the Isle of Man, a normally forgotten countryside that has turned into Washington's potential pipeline of supplies to our enemies. If we're to stand any chance of victory, we must defend the landing fields at any cost. The Resistance will attack any one of 5 different spots on the island. The job of our counterintelligence is to make sure they don't attack where we're most vulnerable. Our weaponry is the amount of supplies and weapons where we invest in man to prevent a breakthrough by resistance forces. Be warned, the more we invest in the island's defense, the costlier it shall become, potentially diverting from other fronts of the war. As each sector will come under attack, devoting weapons to the effort will hold them back. But it's up to you, Prime Minister, to prioritize which weapons areas need weapons the most. If these states fall, we'll have no choice but evacuate the island, leaving it in Washington's hands. Holy shit. Establish bunkers in Ramsey. Some fake resistance. Michael. We'll defend there. We'll set up a bit of artillery. So far, man has endured 0 attacks out of 8 possible. Losing 3 more states will cause an evacuation from the Isle. The longer it holds, the better. The word panic did not quite convey the levels of sheer chaos and fear that engulfed Ben's platoon. They had been basic training just a few weeks ago when all of a sudden they had been ordered to ship out to the capital, and that was in a state of abject emergency. There had been no direct confirmation of what was going on just yet, but rumors would always spread, and these rumors were shockingly consistent. It was being said that Downing Street had been blown up with a prime minister inside. Ben didn't quite know what to believe. He never looked up to nor dislike the Prime Minister on a personal level. Indeed, how much Englishmen of his age could genuinely claim to hold much in common with the likes of Barry Domville. But he was still the man who led Ben's country alongside the king himself, and when he joined the army, Ben was sworn to defend both king and country. To have resistance attack both so brazenly like this could only mean the trouble, and he did not like it one bit. As the old military transport trundled down the road, few of the men were speaking. Usually they would be joking around with each other by now, or at least exchanging words with each other, but instead it felt as if they were gathered at a funeral. Hushed whispers were exchanged as many of them stared vacantly onwards. They all knew what they had signed up for in joining the military, but none of them would have expected for anything major to occur this soon. It was at this moment that Ben could suddenly remember what his mother had said to him when he told her that he had signed up. The sentence echoed in Ben's head as the prospect of combat dangled over him. "I don't want to lose you two." Where the fuck are the Yankees indeed? Scorpion's Dissolution. Men and women of a free Britain. Radios across the aisle chattered to life, bringing forth the sentence to those tuned in. The so-called New Order, of which all the fools in Europe have touted for years and years, has proven itself to be nothing more than an architect of our deaths, and its frail Apollo, Admiral Domville, is dead. Our so-called overlord has abandoned their fascist pawns in Westminster, and now more than ever is the time to call for their annihilation. Deep within a bunker on a Lancastrian hillside, 3 men sat before a microphone, broadcasting their final manifesto to those across Britain. McLean and Jones were among that trio, yet another man had finally joined them. That man was before them, delivering their life's work. If you seek proof that our masters are little more than paper tigers, unfit to rule over us, look no further than their inability to catch the man of their greatest obsession, only to find not that by their own actions that man hid amongst them. My name is Charles Henry Maxwell Knight, and for years I worked in MI5. For years, however, I have also led Her Majesty's most loyal resistance. I'm sure those among you remember Cable Street in 1956 when our brightest hopes were dashed by the clubs of Germans. I ask you to remember that day, but not to despair on it. Alexander and Sterling gave their lives for our cause that day, and out of it we moved to cover our resistance in the shadows. I am now stepping forth out of those shadows. Remember not only Cable Street, but remember those across the sea that today resist. Remember our own people who were taken from their homes and have never returned. And most importantly, remember what Britain once was before the fascists crept onto the Isle. I ask you to hold on to these, but not to despair, for now we cry out revolution. Revolution of the highest magnitude. We rise at the crux of their new order, at the moment of shattering. Rise, rise those of you who truly believe, and hold to themselves a truth that Britain's torch will never be extinguished. The months ahead will be our most brutal and tragic, yet if you truly believe, these sufferings compare not to a moment longer under the rule in an ideology which has scorched us for 20 years. In the name of Britain, rise. Once more unto the breach, dear friends. Once more. This will be our trial. Message from Her Majesty's Most Loyal Resistance. Change your diplomatic status with us. Declare war. Well, this is bloody well fucked, isn't it? Alright, you all will get a deployment there. You guys will focus on crushing that. Got some blokes over here. Shit, okay. This is tough. This is gonna be tricky, tricky, tricky indeed. Yeah, we really have fuck all over here. Okay, you're in Newcastle. So we need you to... We'll have you go into there. Okay, oh, man. Well, this is our worst fucking nightmare. Britannia, oh you glorious and wondrous thing. Time and time again, you have showcased to the world your strength and intelligence, your kindness and wisdom. You have preserved, in the best and worst times, standing up against all forces, yet surviving nonetheless. Why then are you divided once more? Our greatest fears have been realized as the resistance has risen up across the country, cities falling under the banner for Her Majesty's most loyal resistance. Once more blood is spilt on the island. Our island is thrown back into the chaos as young men and our former soldiers take up arms once more. Our position looks untenable, and our government is divided. Yet we cannot fail. For king and country, we must succeed. Maxwell Bloody Knight. Huh. I remember reading about... I was looking at TV tropes for like some guides, and I saw... Oh shit. I realized ahead of time. Oh, no, wait, that... He's the guy? Very impressive little twist. I enjoy that a fair bit. I thought that was brilliant. We'll move guys onto here. Oh, we probably shouldn't pin you there, but we can get you out there. Well, we need to make sure we hold on to Edinburgh. Hold Leeds if we can. Leeds is up here. Get some good chaps up there. I think we're okay. And make sure we hold on to London. I don't know why you're all the way there. Hold on, let's get you in here. Well, gotta make sure we get you blokes all ready to take this back. Move to Cornwall after that. Oh man. It's getting late. I got school in the morning, so I probably should not be I should probably end it here. I mean, we're far past the video anyway. We own Aberdeen for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, I'm leaving it there. But thanks for watching, blokes. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. Check my various links. All that fun shit down in the description box below. Until next time, my friends, I'll see you. Man, I'll see you guys next time. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm tired. You guys know what I mean by now. Yeah, goodbye.